Another crafting video with regards to cold.build is going to be the boots. Um, you can make a pair of boots like this, which is quite easy to achieve, or you can push it even further. I'll show you how to make the best of the best, but basically it's going to be much more expensive. In this For this pair of boots that I have, I chose to use a veiled suffix and craft increase movement speed with onslaught. But if you want to go with the veiled and make the best of the best pair of boots, I'm going to show you real quick. The only thing that will change compared to the pair of boots that I have is I'm going to drop the chance to avoid being poisoned, and we are going to get a chance to avoid elemental ailments. And also we are going to use a better chance to avoid elemental ailments essence, because in 321 we no longer have access to the arcane sanctuary, which used to give to a 25% chance to avoid elemental ailments. So we are forced to use deafening essence of loading, and this pair of boots is going to be much harder to craft. Now I have to say, if your build does not care about the armor, like for example in here you don't care about the 200 something armor, you don't care about the evasion, you are better off just going with an evasion based, because let's show you real quick. If we go to the boots of Dex and we are trying to hit spell suppression, let's just say that we have an essence of loading like this, it's going to take us 33 tries. But if we go to a base that gives strength Dex, or a base that is Dex int, as you can see, this number right here is more than double. So the best item that you can craft is going to be the one with armor, but it's going to be also the most expensive one. If you don't care about it, just get a base with a fracture maximum life, a decent amount of fracture maximum life, preferably only on an evasion base, and you can craft it for cheap. It's super easy to craft it. However, in this video I'm going to show you how to get the best of the best. This is how you do it. You go to the trade site, you buy, if you go to the emulator right here and you go create new item, go for the boots, and let's just say that it's strength dex base. Dragon scale boots offer you the most armor. So you would say dragon scale boots. Let's just put item level 86 for the spell suppression, and then at base percentile you would put 100. Now I'm showing you how to get the best base possible. To be honest, it doesn't really make a difference, but this is how you craft the best of the best. As you can see, I didn't craft the best of the best because I couldn't be bothered. I just wanted to finish the league as fast as possible, not to craft the best item possible. What this base percentile does, if you look under quality and check the armor, it gives you a range between 121 and 139. And if you have 100% base percentile, it would give you 139 armor. You buy this pair of boots. You go to the emulator, proceed. You'd make them rare. At this point, you'd go to use essence. Let me show you real quick. So naturally, you can go up to 89 maximum life, but with essences, you can go up to 96 maximum life on boots. So you would use essence of greed tier 1, spam them until it gives you 96 maximum life like this. If you have more than 4 modifiers in total, as you can see here I have 5, you'd use an orb of annulment hoping that it doesn't remove life like it did in this case. At this point you'd use fracturing orb. As you can see, this is a very expensive craft. We failed. You want to fracture the maximum life, and as you can see, you can easily burn through currency. At this point you would use a fossil, perfect fossil, until you hit 30% quality. Um, to be honest, all these steps are really not that necessary, because you can do just fine with a much worse pair of boots. You are really not going to feel this difference, but this is how you craft the best of the best. You spam until you hit 30% quality. For some reason, I'm not getting it. Um, there you go. You have 30% quality. At this point, what I advise you to do is to check how much actually spell suppression do you need, and how much chance to avoid elemental ailments, because maybe you can get away with shrieking essence of loading. And the one way to check how much chance to avoid the elemental elements you need would be to craft the implicits. I mean, to look at least at the implicits. Uh, Chance to avoid elemental elements, you see that they go up to 32%. You do the math yourself. You see how much chance to avoid elemental elements you get from this, and also pay attention, because the essence of loading can give you up to 35 chance to avoid elemental elements. So this is something where you have to do the math yourself, and decide whether you go with screaming, shrieking, or deafening essence of loading. Uh, you run some calculations, and you do that. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to put, let's just say we get this amount of chance to avoid elemental elements. Um, Now what we would do, we would use an essence, deafening essence of loading, like this, let's just say, and spam it um, until we hit, let's just say, tier 1 suppression. Although you have to make the calculations yourself to see how much you need. You would use an orb of annulment if your suffix is bad, like for example in this one, and depends on what you need. Like for example, in my case, I wanted some chaos resistance, and I didn't want to spend too much on my pair of boots, so I made it cheaper. So I ended up with a pair of boots that looked something similar to this. Obviously not this tire, but at this point I used suffixes cannot be changed. Let's see, we go to prefixes, we go suffixes cannot be changed, like this. Then I used an aisling. Like if it gives you a prefix and your boots look like this, what you could do, you could see what you can block to get the modifier that gives you movement speed and onslaught. As you can see, you should not craft any movement speed, and you can craft any of these modifiers, preferably uh, the one with increased armor and evasion. So you go, or even this one with regenerate mana. This is also good. It gives you a higher chance of you hitting this craft right here. If it gives you a prefix, you can leave it as it is, and instead for the suffix you can just go and craft uh, chaos damage, chaos resistance, and something else, like for example this right here, and then use an exalt, and this would be your pair of boots. However, if you want to make the best of the best, you don't do it like this. Instead, what you do, but once again, this is completely unnecessary. You don't have to do it. So let's just say that your pair of boots looks something similar to this. You craft suffixes cannot be changed. At this point, use orb of scouring, or actually no. You would use, first of all, you don't craft the implicits right here. You don't craft chance to avoid elemental elements yet. Uh, you would use an eldritch orb of annulment, I guess. Probably you need a different uh, let's see, which one is the, so you'd use a string iter of words dominant, I guess, or what is it, like this, and use an eldritch of annulment to get rid of the prefix, so your item looks like this, so that you don't have to spend the two two divines for suffixes cannot be changed. You would craft suffixes cannot be changed at this point. You would go use syndicate aisling veil. Once again, craft regenerate life and mana, so that you, no, I made a mistake once again. I'm too tired. Um, we still need one suffix. So you'd go suffixes cannot be changed, and you'd go to harvest, add, remove. If you need an elemental resistance, go for fire, lightning, or cold, depending on which one is the cheapest. But if you want chaos, you would add, remove chaos until you get the desired tire. If it gives you, let's just say this was the lowest tire possible, once again you go use an orb of annulment, um, and hope that you still have this modifier. Repeated the process, suffixes cannot be changed. um, you would once again use the harvest, add, remove chaos until you hit the desired modifier like this. At this point, you would use the beast that gives you suffixes cannot be changed, because now you can use it. You'd go to syndicate aisling veil. Um, you'd craft with aisling veiled prefix. Now you'd craft regenerate life or mana, um, like to block, like for example this, to block, to increase you the chance of receiving the movement speed with onslaught. You would hit unveil. It gives you a movement speed, but it doesn't give you the one with onslaught. If you're fine with it, it's okay. Once again, you'd use the eldritch orb of annulment. Make sure you don't mix this together. You read which one does which, so that you remove the prefixes, um, like this. You craft, once again, suffixes cannot be changed. Aisling veil, repeat the process, regenerate mana, unveil. um, and now I'm just going to, as you can see, it takes you quite a while to get the onslaught, but now we have the onslaught. And at this point you just craft whatever you think you need. Maybe you actually need regenerate life per second. Maybe you want the armor. Let's just say that we want the armor, so, or increased armor and maximum life, like this. So this would be your last craft, and this is how you make the best pair of boots possible. Now at this point you can go to the labyrinth and also add an enchant if you really want to. uh, to be honest, it's really not necessary to go the extra length to just get a pair of boots that is just a little bit better than this right here. Once again, in this video I showed you how to make the best of the best, but in reality you don't really need tier 1 spell suppression and the deafening essence of loading to achieve 100% chance to suppress spell damage or chance to avoid elemental damage. So this is where you have to basically do the math and open the calculator. Also, maybe with this type of jewel you can manipulate it and get some spell suppression on the tree as well, so that you don't have to use these extreme crafts. Once again, if you don't care about this 200 armor, just go with the evasion base. It's going to be much easier to craft. You're not going to have a headache, and just for 7% more fractured maximum life, you can just simply get a better you can just simply get it a cheaper item, because to use a fracturing orb it would probably take you at least 10 divines, even if you do it early into the league. More like 20 divines just to get this fracture if you want the best of the best. But this is how you do it. And now that you have this item crafted, forgot to mention for the implicits, Scorching Ground. Drops Scorching Ground, I would say to not go for this basic one because for normal monsters you don't need it. But when a pinnacle or a unique boss is in your presence, you can go for Scorched Ground as low as possible. I would say the unique is the best one because sometimes you want to kill bosses. You don't always want to have Scorched only when you're doing pinnacle bosses. And then you go for the ailments, chance to avoid elemental ailments. Go to make the calculations once again, see how high you need to go and craft the implicits, and this is how you make the best pair of boots for Cold Tot.